Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha. Namaste. We are with Gautamji once again after many months. So, Gautam, welcome back to the channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for coming to Goa, and it's wonderful to have you as always.
Great to be here.
So, today, Gautam, I would like to talk to you on the subject of bhakti.
Yes.
And as one goes deeper on the path of worship towards Baba, like Baba himself gave many cues, like the Navveda Bhakti, and there are so many aspects. So I felt, especially for our brothers and sisters from the West, that Bhakti is from the heart and not from the mind.
Yes.
So if you could shed some light on that.
Yes, sure. In fact, not just brothers and sisters in the West. I feel many of us Indians feel we have bhakti, but that's still not bhakti from the heart. The mind is very tricky, Nick. We can think a certain way and the reality is different. Now, it reminds me of a very beautiful story on bhakti. And this is about a Sufi lineage called the Naqshbandi. Naqshbandi. In Sufism, there are many silsilas, there are lineages. Now, I was initiated into Qadriya silsila. It is the oldest Sufi silsilas. What appealed to me was the Naqshbandi silsila, because that was a teaching which went straight to the heart. Means the Guru worked on the heart, not on the mind. And most of it was delivered in silence. Now the story goes, very beautiful story of the Guru-disciple relationship. The founder of Naqshbandi Silsila was someone called Hazrat Harun. Now Hazrat Harun was the epitome of bhakti. So much so that his fellow Guru Bandhus were jealous of him. His love for his Guru was so much that no one could match it. Now, what happened one day, his Guru gave him a task that I'm leaving now. There are these earthen pots in the room. You have to paint them all and write the name Allah on them. By the time I come back, the task should be done. He said, yes, master. And master went out. Now the fellow Guru Bandhus were joyous because they knew that Hazrat Harun is so immersed in his bhakti that he's not going to bother with this task in all his Sufi practices and whatever it is. And rightly so, and that is exactly what happened. He forgot. Hazrat Harun forgot because he went immediately into love for God, love for the master, and he was totally lost in that. And then the master came back. And finally, the co-disciples said, this man's future here is finished because the master does not tolerate any indiscipline. A task is a task no matter who you are. So the master asked Hazrat, have you done the task? And without even thinking, in that split second, Hazrat replied, yes. And the master was very impressed. He said, I'm glad, let's see the work. And so all the jealousy, envy, ridicule started coming up because they knew that the pots were empty. They were not painted. So the master went in, Hazrat followed behind, and on each pot, the pot was painted and the word Allah was written. So everyone was shocked, but not Hazrat Harun, not the master. That is when the master said, you will start the Naqshbandi Silsila. Naqsh means the impressor. The impression of Allah on the pots could have only happened through the heart. And so the name was given by the master of the lineage, an impressor of what? Of the heart, the impression in the heart. Now this degree of bhakti, you would agree with me, is absolute and total. So we have to ask ourselves especially those on the Bhakti marg, that what level of Bhakti are we aspiring to and what do we feel we have right now? Because the mind can make us think we are full of Bhakti. But as a simple example I have mentioned before, what if we are not living the Master's teachings? Then are we full of Bhakti for the Master? According to me, that is a very important point.
There are certain symptoms of bhakti as one goes closer to the heart. As my Guruji would say, he said the whole journey is from here to here. And people will go to the moon also, but this journey is from here to here.
Yes.
And that's the most difficult.
Yes.
So there are certain symptoms of devotion, and on the channel we had done a series paying tribute to the Mahabhaktas with Dr. Vinny.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I was inspired to do that series with her was that there are shining examples like you gave of this great devotee. Within what Baba left us, it was an interplay between Baba and these great fortunate devotees. And their lives, I feel, must be studied very carefully. And they are good examples of these qualities they have.
Absolutely. And that's the right word, qualities. You see, because there's this common saying which I believe is very accurate. To know a master, know the disciples. And at least from now what I recall over the last 4-5 years, the stellar examples you have interviewed on the channel who are today with us, they are absolute beacons of their master's words, I would say. So the examples are there before us.
Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita that even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. And Vinima would look up to Kakasaheb Dixit as her guru. And rightly so. He was an embodiment of total faith and total surrender. And in one's daily living, when we can even remember those instances where there was total surrender, I really feel it is an interplay with Baba, and much of the teaching and how to behave has to be emulated through their conduct.
Yes, and you see, Nick, our bhakti is conditional. Theirs is unconditional, that no matter what happens in their lives, I clearly remember you mentioning once about Ai's son who was very unwell, I think. Was it the son? And they just said, we've left it to Baba. So that is unconditional bhakti. It does not depend on an outcome. And it does not depend on what I feel I want, what is good for me. That is true bhakti.
I want to interrupt you here. In one of our earlier talks, someone left a comment saying it should not be blind faith. Like someone may hear this talk and say, oh, that means don't go to a doctor. And I would like to add something here because it just correlates to one of our earlier talks.
Yes.
That see, even if one goes to the doctor, one will have the total understanding and faith that Baba has sent us here. There's no fear. It's the internal state. It's not so much of the external action. It is complete peace, surrender, and trust that they experience, whereas someone else may be very flustered. If Baba sends them to a doctor, maybe so, but internally they know throughout that it is Baba who is taking care. And they've surrendered everything to him.
Yes, and it is Baba who will work through the doctor.
Exactly.
You see, as my teacher, he was very pragmatic. He would say, trust in God, but lock your car. So you still have to lock your car. It's not you're going to leave it open and just send an open invitation for theft. So be pragmatic, but ultimately know that God's will prevails. That is a very important point.
Even Bhagwan Ramana was very particular. He would tell devotees to lock the rooms as thieves may come.
Yes.
So it by no means means being unpractical either.
Yeah.
But it's the internal state of complete trust.
And what does that reflect as? Peace and harmony and equanimity. You see, you cannot have total bhakti and a troubled mind. A mind which is always in the dead past or an imaginary future or running circles around itself. So one will know that if by and by my vibration is one of witness consciousness, Sakshi Bhav, seeing the flow of life, of course we are all human beings. This is not that we have to strive to be perfection. But by and by, largely, I find I am in equanimity. Sometimes I may get triggered, so be it. It's the human condition. Some patterns are deep rooted. But even then, that turbulence is momentary. It is not stretched in the duration of time, causing psychological suffering for myself and others. So the whole way of being has changed when I am immersed in bhakti. Because firstly, this point I always hammer upon, it means I'm living the master's teachings all the time. Now, if someone like Baba says, see me in all beings, there are some beings I may not like. I may question their actions. Yet, I have the total acceptance that nothing is apart from the divine. In this case, Baba is the absolute, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-pervading, all-powerful. So there can be no power apart from that. This is the Leela. And the illusion is thinking that people, especially the ones we don't like, are apart from the source. That is where we get stuck. So living that to me is bhakti. It does not mean I have to hug everyone. It does not mean these preconceived notions that only I'll use flowery language and I'll be immersed in this wave. No, pragmatic, practical, daily living. But I will know for myself in my heart, am I living my master's teachings?
One way or doorway to bhakti in Baba's path most certainly is the reading and contemplation of the teachings in life, which is the Sai Satcharita.
Yes.
To my surprise, not in a good way, most people, most devotees read the abridged edition and they've not read the full edition. Most people.
Yes.
So, this is the full translation of Hemarpant's original work, and this is translated by Indira Kher. This is the edition Vinima would recommend because it is a word to word translation of the original work Hemarpant had written. It has all of Baba's teachings, sayings, and Baba himself has given clear instruction on how to meditate on him, how to contemplate on the stories. But you see, when one reads the short edition, and that too, there's this culture of doing the Parayan in a big hurry. There are groups where, nothing against it, but people do reading for each other. The thing is, that is not the contemplation Baba has pointed to. So, at least for devotees who are established on the path and wish to go further, a very serious study of the full edition in whichever language is a must. The Shirdi Sanstha on their website has the Samarth Satcharit. I will put a link to this where they have that as a PDF that devotees can download and read. That is translated by Zaren. And both of these are translations of the original work. So I feel it's a must, at least for devotees who don't know, to do the reading of this slowly. On House of Sai, we have put a Kindle edition as well of the Samarth Satcharit that devotees can download and read on their device. So that these links I will share below.
Yes, because I feel that either people don't know about it or they do, but because time is so short today, there's so many distractions, social media, someone gave a word, I believe it's common now, I had never heard of it, called doom scrolling. Have you heard of doom scrolling? The habit of just scrolling all the videos and, social media accounts. We are lost in that. Even before sleeping, people are doing that. Whereas you have something like the Sai Satcharita by your bedside. And I, for one, loved big books because you can be immersed in them. Today, many people avoid fat books. But I feel if you are immersed in Baba's teachings, you consider yourself a disciple or devotee, then go for the big one because it's an immersion.
And Gautam, if you've not read Baba's teachings and you've not contemplated on it, how could you call yourself Baba, a devotee of Baba? I mean, you may not know many of the things Baba has said.
Yes.
And I'm quite surprised. I don't meet many people, but many people who've been on the path for many years and they've never heard of the Vishnu Sahasranam. Oh, where is it mentioned?
Yes.
Then when did Baba say this? And it comes back to one thing, that this full edition has not been read.
Yes.
And there is this culture where many people are part of these groups, which is a good thing. But if we see Baba's own words, Baba said repeatedly read and contemplate my stories, and
Yes.
then the jewels of self realization you will find.
Absolutely.
So, this is the power of my stories.
Yes. In fact, if you recall the book, you have helped bring out Scribblings.
Yes.
Even there it is said, and that book came out in the 70s or
Yes.
something.
I think mid 80s.
You know, that it is the teachings which will come forth, you know, because that, you know, consciousness also evolves, understanding evolves, and that contemplation to read the story beyond the story, that what is in it for me. Or I just get stuck at the level of this, wow, what a chamatkar Baba. No, how can I relate to it? What can I understand from it? What is it showing me? But the stories operate at different levels.
If you give me permission, I would like to read one page from the Chatcharit. It is the Aarti composed by Madhav Adkarji, which Baba himself approved of and gave this. If we read the story of the Jamner miracle, Baba had sent this Aarti, so clearly it had Baba's approval. This is the translation. I will read just one page and then would just want to share some reflections. I wave lights before you, O Sai Baba, the giver of happiness to the creatures. Give refuge to this servant, to your devotees in the dust at your feet. Having burnt down Cupid, that is lust, you are always self-absorbed and appear before the very eyes of the seekers as Sri Krishna. As is the faith in one's heart, so is the experience you give him. O compassionate one, such is your Maya, O such is your Maya. Meditating on your name, the worldly sorrows vanish. Truly unfathomable is your doing. You show the way to the friendless, O to the friendless. Taking avatar in this Kalyug, you have incarnated as the true Sagun Brahman. O Swami Datta Digambar, Datta Digambar. Every 8 days on Thursday, the devotees make pilgrimage for the darshan of their God. Do remove their fear of worldly life, Service to your holy feet is my treasured wealth, and this is all I ask for, O Lord of Lords, O Lord of Lords. This meek Chatak wishes only for the pure water of bliss. Give it to this Madhava and keep your promise. O keep your promise. I wave the lights before you, O Sai Baba.
Beautiful.
When this was presented to Baba for the first time, Baba was very happy. And the fact that Baba has approved it happened in Baba's time. Baba gave it, the Jamner miracle. Baba himself sent this with Todi. So I feel every word of this, if one contemplates, he refers to Baba as Sri Krishna. He refers to Baba as Dattatreya. Now, Baba has approved this. So, when Baba speaks on the Bhagavad Gita with Nana Sahib, when Baba has advocated the reading of the Eknathi Bhagwat, which is again instruction by Lord Krishna, even Narasimha Swamiji would look at Baba as, he would say, Baba is Narayan himself. So, the teachings that are given in the Satcharit and the teachings Baba advocated to certain ripe devotees like Kakasaheb Dixit, Radhakrishna Mai would do repeated readings of the Eknathi Bhagwat. These are then cues for us to follow.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean. We have to go beneath the surface. But it's not a judgment. The nature of life today, the fragmentation, the lack of attention, is making us all shallow devotees or convenient devotees.
I would like to speak on this, and there's this YouTube culture today where anyone is sharing anything online. To a certain extent, there's no credibility in that. For example, today it's very easy. You take your phone, record something, put it out. But how far it is true is questionable.
Yes.
When we see the Mahabhaktas, it showed in their action.
Yes.
It's very easy to speak something. But whether it has permeated within, that's why I use this phrase mature devotion.
Right.
Initially, there's this outburst of experiences, there's excitement, there's also disbelief, like, oh, it's happening to me. But later, it's when the teachings sink in,
Yes.
then the experiences are secondary, they don't matter.
Correct.
It's more
Absolutely.
the path and the settling down.
Yeah.
So, this is also something I would advise that yes, for inspiration, maybe, but everything that you may be shown today may not necessarily be true. Therefore, the Satcharit, the teachings, the lives of the Mahabhaktas have great significance, is what I feel.
Yes. And I would like to, if I may, take this now into a further discussion, which is now many people come to my talks also where they are watching various teachers on YouTube, even my videos on YouTube. So I'm part of the pool. Now, fortunately for me, I am of the generation where I was in the physical proximity of my teacher. In fact, whoever influenced me, any spiritual master, I met them physically. Today, it's a bit different. I've seen that with technology and YouTube, you don't choose to meet masters because you have your own life, your cocoon, your bubble, and you see everything on YouTube. Now, there are pluses and minuses. One is I can learn from all masters. I can learn something if I'm watching 10 teachers on YouTube. I can pick up something which appeals. Surely it's of benefit to me. But as Maharaj said, you don't get water by digging shallow wells all over the land, but one deep well. Now, this is very important because someone asked this question to Ramakrishna Paramhansa. And he gave a very beautiful reply. He said, if you go to a fruit shop, there are many fruits. You might like many of them, but in your heart, you know which is your favorite. That is the Guru. So, you have to look at the whole buffet of offerings if you feel drawn to certain teachers, whatever it may be. But pick that one which you can really stay with and bond with and live those teachings. Because as the Sufi mystic Bhai Sahib said, you cannot win a race by riding two horses at the same time. See, Nick, it's all pointing back to this. What in our tradition was the Guru principle. Now, just as we had our parents who are gurus, then our teachers in school taught us the Guru figures. And we feel in life we don't need a Guru. We have preconceived notions of what a Guru is because of certain bad events that have happened, ochre robes, renunciation and all that, all preconceived. The Guru is the giver of light, the remover of darkness. And it actually translates as spiritual weight. The word Guru translates as spiritual weight. So pick that one which you know that this is really touching my heart. So this is my suggestion, because I see it a lot, that people feel we don't need to pick that one. There's enough, there's a lot, there's a plentiful out there, and we don't need it. But my understanding is Sai Baba himself has said you need one guru, if I'm not mistaken. All the masters have said that. And so this is an appeal to youngsters especially, that taste all the fruits, but see which has touched your heart, which has transformed your life the most. And the point you raised about sinking from the head to the heart is very important, because like you said, experiences we may get, but are we then living the new way? In Zen, there's this concept of awakening and deliverance. Awakening is I get a driving license. It does not mean I can drive comfortably on the road. I may be very scared. I've just learned driving. I've just about passed the test. So, awakening is that one experience I had, this eye opener, which made me change my view about things. But it does not mean I'm home. And the guru is required for that awakening to convert to deliverance. So imagine now for 2 years I'm driving, and a road I was driving on which was very scary, buses, trucks. 2 years ago I got my license, no doubt, certified to drive, but I was full of fear. But after 2 years I'm driving down that road and I feel, I could manage driving down this road and I didn't lose my peace of mind. Now the guru bridges this gap. But our work has to be done too. Everything the guru is not going to do. Guru is there, watching, observing. But the effort is yours, the sadhana is yours.
This is something many devotees in comments ask. Even I would like to address this. That see, sincerity and humility are required to be eligible to come to a guru. See, if you watch 20 teachers online, you may not even be a spiritual aspirant. You're just hopping from A to B, and that's an initial stage which is fine. But for example, if one is on the path of Baba, let's take this example. If one reads the Satcharit as a sadhana, practices the teachings like the Vishnu Sahasranam and different cues Baba has left, inculcates it in daily life, one is there will be a marked change and it will sink into their everyday life. Then I tell people that if Baba feels the need to send you a master in person, or you to the master rather, leave that to Baba, because they cannot decide for themselves.
Absolutely.
But the thing is the humility, the sincerity of following the practice, and then you're only on Baba. So, for example, your whole life is through that filter. Baba said this, I will try and implement it, and every action of yours you will see through the filter of the teachings.
Yes.
If that stage is not reached, you could go to any master, but nothing will happen, because that humility and sincerity, these two virtues you have to have within. Even Bole Baba would say, he said, जब भी अहंकार होता है, वो गुरु बनाएंगे ही नहीं किसी के पास, because उन्हें लगेगा मुझे सब खुद ही आता है.
Right.
So I would reflect on that truly when there's humility only when one, especially with a master in body, because see, what is the difference? I had the great good fortune to be with my Guruji for 10 years. You could not enter the room at your will. You could not move your body, change the posture at your will. When you had to get up and leave the room was not by your will. It is all discipline and a mark of respect. Now, it's very different. So, in the presence of a master, one's behavior, you cannot do. And Baba would throw out devotees who would come with arrogance and who would misbehave. There are many such accounts. So, humility is key.
Yes, and unfortunately, today people don't have to deal with all that because they are watching the YouTube teachers.
So, you see the convenience that is there, but I still feel if the sincerity is there, and if you are absorbed in Baba's path, till it becomes a filter, like every breath of yours in the day is through the filter of Baba's life and teachings, then Baba can guide you directly. He may send you to a master or whatever it is. But I do feel the prerequisite is humility and sincerity. If that is not there,
yes, and earnestness.
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 Yeah. One is not.
And a very important point that you do not find the Guru finds you. So even a master in physical form will find you, because that master is an expression of your own higher self. Now, one thing I'd like to point out here is, you may have a doubt that is this person worth following? Supposing you come across someone. I have a very simple answer for that. If what that person says and that person's actions connect you deeper to Baba, make you understand Baba's teachings deeper. You see, because the Guru points to the Sadguru. Now, in this instance, the Guru figure is the person who you take as the Guru. Sadguru is Baba. Ultimately, Sadguru is within. But now we are talking of forms, right? Master who has dropped his body, I'm not able to engage with him physically, but someone comes who shows me, okay, you've taken this being as the absolute, Parabrahman, and I will immerse you in the teachings. So when you find this person, you will know, is this person enabling me to connect deeper with Baba himself? A very important point, because then I will not stray off the path, nor will I be taken for a ride. You know, some people can go at different tangents and lose the focus. So this is a question to ask. If I'm following A, B, C, or something has appealed to me, is it pointing me back to Baba all the time? It's a very simple pointer. If I may go a bit back on the Bhakti, and which I totally agree with you about blind faith one has to be careful of. But I will give you the flip side also. You see, because the surrender has to happen with total faith, not blind faith, I agree. Again, the Sufi mystic Bhai Sahib, he had a disciple who came with him to be with him in Kanpur from Russia. She relocated. So she was there because she really wanted to learn and watch him in action, you see. So one day, and see how a master can test a disciple. He was referring to a chair in the courtyard. Now, I don't remember the exact story, but he said something like, you know, look at this black chair, something to that effect. And she said, Bhai Sahib, I beg your pardon, but it's blue. He said, no, it's black. It's been lying in my courtyard for so long. She said, but Bhai Sahib, I mean, very clearly, it is a blue chair. I'm sorry, but it is blue. He said, it is black. She said, no, it is blue. So Bhai Sahib told his disciple, if you are calling me your Guru and I am saying it is black, it is black. She said, all right, if you say so, it is black. You're right, it is a black chair. He said, no. If I am saying it is a black chair, you have to see it as a black chair. You don't have to say, I think it's blue, but since you're saying, okay, you have to see it as a black chair. Now, what was he pointing to? We think we know best. You see, all these are, Nick, tests. They are not to be taken literally. The master is always testing us. So what is Bhai Sahib telling his disciple in this case? You think you know best based on your preconceived notions, ideas, and conditioning, whereas the master has seen everything. So to surrender to the master, to have faith in the master, is to say, I know what you see is different from what my eyes see, and you please show me how to see it. So it was simply a test. It was not about the chair being blue or black. So while you're right, blind faith is also a dangerous thing, especially in today's world, because there are many people taking advantage of innocent and naive students, one could say. Yet, a true test of faith is when I say, my God, the master knows best, and what he says and sees, if I follow that way, my own experience tells me I get immersed in peace, equanimity, calm, sukha shanti. I find I can navigate my boat of life gently through turbulent waters. Then I know it is not blind faith. which is going to harm me. It is a deep faith and trust in the divine forces. So we have to have that discernment between what is a blind faith in somebody, which can be dangerous, versus what is total and deep faith, because a true master will only want to help everyone to navigate the journey of life without creating more turbulence, more inanubandhan, more angst. That is the only goal, you could say, is the welfare of the devotee, because they don't consider the devotee apart from them.
Once some devotees had asked a question pertaining to this, and I had presented it to my Guruji, saying, how does a devotee discern whether the master is a real master or no? And he said, there's only one thing. Remember, the true Sadguru has no need for you.
Yes.
And I feel in today's era, there are two aspects to this one should pay attention to. See, in the earlier paramparas in India, going back thousands of years, there was no concept of a retreat. If you were eligible, then by great grace and good fortune, after the master tested you, were you allowed to come in proximity. That was one. It was not that you could buy a ticket and enter, and
Sure.
that culture didn't exist. So after they tested you, if you were sincere, eligible, by grace, you were allowed to be in their proximity. And that is seen even in Baba's time, where many devotees came to boast and they were not allowed into Dwarka Mai. The second thing is that if devotees come to a guide or a master, but they feel that that point is missing, like it's the other way around, where the master needs them or the master's so-called disciples call them, and the need, that I always say, whose need is it? And it's a very important thing to reflect on.
Yes.
So this thing Guruji had said, he said,
it is
remember,
a valid point.
the Sadguru has no need for you.
Yes.
And that need would be financial, social, whatever it is. But
Yes,
one
and
has
we
to be
see,
aware of this.
yeah, and you see, mostly what happens is the source operates such that a person who has to play the role of master will be looked after. Whether it is financially, whether it is through seva, you see, again, coming back to the great one and only Ramakrishna. He says that the bees come on their own. They don't have to be pulled. It happens on its own. That natural flow happens. But as the American mystic Joel Goldsmith pointed out, who I think I would call a Western Jnani, in the 60s, he dropped his body in the 60s, that such people should be freed of the mundane world also, so they can do what they know best to do. So it is up to those who go to such people to look after their needs. They will never ask for it, you see. But it is up to people to realize that this person has gold to offer, and why should they waste their time in the mundane? And automatically a sangha comes or people come to take care of such beings.
True, absolutely. That, as you said, it happens automatically.
Yeah.
I would like to add one thing here, Gautam, that there's a very important story of Jawahar Ali in the book.
Yes.
And it's a state only Baba could show us.
And in fact, we did a couple of
We've
videos
spoken,
on this.
But I think it's relevant here.
Yeah.
That, see, it is likely that maybe on one's journey, one may come across a master or a guide or a fellow devotee. To a certain point, they can help them, but maybe that falls away at some point. But I think through that Leela, Baba has shown us always to mind our own conduct, regardless what we are presented with.
Absolutely.
Our own conduct is most important.
Yes.
So I feel that is something we must pay attention to at all times, that what may come would be prarabdha, but if that is our focal point, that we mind ourselves, see it from the light of Baba's teachings, then there's nothing to worry about. Baba will take care of you, that is certain.
And everything is there to teach us a lesson. That is very important. And also, if I may, we do have to exercise our buddhi also. So, for example, we have chosen someone, right, to look up to, let's say a higher ideal in the body. And I heard this at one of my retreats where someone was really revering a master, and the next thing you know that he asked this girl to send some 25 photos of herself from different profiles. Now, a simple buddhi would question this, right? Now, see, Nick, I have in my younger years studied a lot of Tibetan Buddhism. I somehow intuitively could read faces because, in the course I did, there was a beautiful line, very beautiful, which I'd like to share. That when you see a person, no, the face reveals so much. But when a person speaks, a lot of what they speak is based on their conditioning. So, what a person speaks is, let's say, one step removed from the face which comes, because that face has not spoken, right? The face is the accumulation of the person till that point, and then they speak. So, that was very beautiful. But my point is that I don't see a master asking for anyone's 20 profile photos, because the whole teaching is you are not the body.
Correct.
The teaching is you are not the body. The master is pointing you back to consciousness, pointing you to Brahman. Like they say, the finger pointing to the moon, but the finger is still only pointing. So we have to also use our logic, common sense, where if we feel that, no, this does not make sense to me, what's going on, then I step away. But that has to be exercised.
See, I would like to share one Leela of Hanumanji. There's a book I had shared earlier, I think, on the channel. It's explaining each line of the Hanuman Chalisa.
Oh.
Now, I don't remember the exact story, but in a nutshell, Hanumanji was allotted the responsibility to safeguard the entry to one mountain cave. And one great saint told him, don't let anybody pass inside. He said, fine. He was there vigilant. Then 5 minutes later, the same sage came back and told him to let him go inward. And he let him. And he was there vigilant. An hour later, the sage appeared again and he saw him outside. So Hanumanji was perplexed. Then he realized the mistake, that demon had taken the form of the sage and gone inward. Of course, Hanumanji being Hanumanji, he averted that situation. But it goes to show that the path of being discriminating is so difficult.
Yes.
It's so difficult, but that is expected. Therefore, like when I say through the Satcharit and the teachings, like for example, recently there's this beautiful book we are compiling on the life of Radhakrishna Mai, this great devotee of Baba, and Vinima had very kindly paid a tribute to her, which I feel it's essential. It is coming into the form of this book.
Lovely.
And she used to be completely absorbed in the Eknathi Bhagwat. Now, when one reads that book, it really is so significant to all Baba devotees that they do the readings of the books that are mentioned in the Satcharit. So, everything given there.
Yes.
It's not that, I just read the story, but for example, if Baba explains something in the Bhagavad Gita to Nana Sahib, or some references mentioned of Kakasaheb Dixit and Mai reading these books, it's for us also to read and contemplate.
Yes, because we think, it was in Baba's time he said Eknathi Bhagwat. So it's a long lost era, but these are eternal texts.
Exactly. And when one is absorbed in these practices, what I would call sadhanas, then you will not have time to watch 20 YouTube channels. But as you are absorbed in the path and you're committed to Baba's teachings and the path Baba has shown, then the master will find you or guide you. That is not your problem. You be sincere and follow this.
Basically, like we are immersed in some series on Netflix or something, and we want to see all seasons.
Correct.
We need that immersion in the master's teachings.
Absolutely.
We'll take that 45-minute episode as something I have to do every night. But you put that 45 minutes for your own self. For your own self.
Yes. And these are sadhanas.
Yeah.
So if one follows them, then Baba will give you what you can digest.
But people might feel we are being too strict. I'm just trying to say that bring a balance, see what you want, do what you want, enjoy life, but don't make this secondary. Don't make your sadhana secondary. Don't make it like when I have spare time. Many people do that, unfortunately. When I have spare time, I will read the book. When I have, now I'm okay, today's a light day, I'll do this practice. It is a secondary practice.
I would assume, Gautam, we are addressing devotees. It's
Yes.
like Sai Baba's devotee speaks.
Yes.
It's for devotees.
Right.
And I feel for a beginner, someone who's just come to know about Baba, fine, it may not be applicable. But for someone who is a devotee, I feel being immersed in the practices, the sadhanas, is expected.
No, and this is a very valid point. In fact, it's great seva you are doing, pulling out these texts which Baba has mentioned and offering them. Finding these books, like a Jewel of Sai Devotion, Scribblings. I was not aware of all these stories.
Even this book that I mentioned, the Bhagwat, we've put as a Kindle edition on the library. So I will share the link in the description for that as well.
And all these books are on the House of Sai website. Right?
And these are free downloads. So they can just get their Kindle app and download it and read it.
And some are available as hard copies.
Some of them. Unfortunately, this as yet is not. We're tracing the publisher. But as a Kindle edition, one can read it.
Yes.
And if you feel we are being strict, forewarning devotees, when you read this book, it is so strong. Like, there are no words, there's no sweetness in it. The traits of the ego, how, for example, the five senses can go astray, and every possible thing to bring you back on the path. So it is a very strong book, but it goes to show for the disciples that have seen everything. See, like what I would call the miracle phase.
Yes.
Do we want a culture that is propagated, that propagates Baba in the name of Prachar as only a miracle machine?
Right. Exactly.
The thing is, the higher teachings, what Baba would say, I will give you what you want until you want what I want to give you.
Yeah, and we kept reiterating this point even through the COVID years and thereafter. It is so essential.
It is. And these are the teachings. So Baba is given. I feel even before thinking, should I find a guru, have you immersed yourself in the Satcharit enough to take the wisdom Baba is giving you?
Absolutely.
Then what is required, Baba will arrange. Trust as much as one can digest. Baba has said this himself.
Yes.
I will give as much as you can digest.
Yes.
Yeah. So Gautam, one other aspect on a closing note. There are some people across India, I would say, that have certain distorted views on Baba. And unfortunately, periodically, they will say things online or do things which are very hurtful to devotees' sentiments, understandably so. And many devotees ask that, why don't you speak on this? My personal viewpoint is that, see, in Baba's time also, people would misbehave with Baba. Like the shopkeepers not giving the oil, other people, doing things. And we should see Baba's example. Like Baba would say, have forbearance, don't react.
Yes.
And Baba has shown by his own example how one has to be in such situations, but still understandably so, since it's our Guru, our God, that when someone speaks ill or misbehaves, it's not very nice. So I wanted to speak with you about the various aspects and attitudes devotees can have so that it does not affect them in the least. And, not even that. So I would like to speak with you about the attitudes maybe devotees can have towards situations like this should they arise.
Sure. Actually, I'd like to give an example from my own life. I used to meet a master who always had negative things to say about my guru and my parampara. But fortunately, I was not the type to react. That was my innate nature. I realized I was there to meet him to learn certain things which he had to offer. You see? So I would keep that part of his personality aside where he was criticizing my master. It would be in one ear, out the other, because I knew why I was there. You see, I didn't want to walk away in disgust because he was saying certain things, because I knew he had some very important jewels to offer me, which only he could offer me. So you could call it my selfish motive. Now, that was okay because it was manageable, whatever he said. Should he have said things more hurtful? I would exercise my discretion and walk away if I felt the need to. It doesn't mean I'm sitting there waiting for my master to be run over all the time. But we must use our discretion and not have a knee jerk reaction. You see, this knee jerk reaction is what Baba himself has said we should not do. We have to learn to respond rather than react. So when we find ourselves in this situation, again, it is a learning for us. Is our ego being triggered? Are we getting defensive? Then the game is not going to end. So I have choices. Is there anything for me to benefit from this? Yes or no? I decide. If it's no, I can walk away. Walk away means even if I'm not physically there, I don't give my mind's attention to what that person is saying.
Now, I want to add something here. In
Yes.
these cases, there are people online who create negative propaganda about Baba and post these videos online. So, this is precisely what I would tell people. Firstly, don't watch such stuff. Because
Yes.
when you watch it, you're almost encouraging the algorithm to propagate it more.
Big point.
Second thing
Yes.
is, in all these social media platforms, there is a link to report content. So, if it is, in this case, clearly violating certain rules of conduct, report it rather than share it.
Yes.
And the third thing is, you keep your mind in Baba's teachings, because as Bole Baba said, this force cannot be stopped. He used the word tiraskar. He said, इस शक्ति की जितनी आप तिरस्कार करोगे, वो महाशक्ति और बढ़ते जाएगी. So, in one sense, as Baba's fame and popularity increases, it's also understandable that certain sects that are sort of bothered by it, they may have their reactions, which is understandable. It's not nice, but at the same time, I feel we have to come back to the teachings.
And we are buying into it, as you were saying. You see, by constantly watching these controversial videos, A, we are encouraging it. B is we are feeding it into our own consciousness. So again, drama is what is the content of our consciousness. You see, drama is seductive, and that is why news channels. You see the voice with which the anchor is communicating the news, that drama, that fear, inflection points of fear into the psyche. News is designed to make you fearful because then you suck it. We love drama. The ego loves fear because it thrives on it. And we are being played. All this negative content, we are being played into its hands. You see, Sri Aurobindo and the mother were quite right when they said that the dark forces or the asuric forces also come up when they see a shining light. And this is going to happen. But ultimately, if Baba is Parabrahman, absolute, no power can touch it. So we need to have that faith. Now, there are some people who are designed to be warriors. Now, I met a yogi from the Gorakhnath tradition recently, and his guru gave him the name Sangharshnath because he loved fighting. And he would go to sadhus and all and engage in debates because he was very good. So that was his nature. So someone else's nature may be, no, I want to give back to this person. My point is, honor your nature, but don't get stuck in blame and condemnation, which is what the others are doing. Because then the Rinanubandhan, again, the action-reaction loop is being recreated. If you feel someone has said something wrong and you would like to make it right, express yourself. But don't cause any harm to the other. Don't get back in the same words they are giving you, because you are perpetuating the bandhan. You are being sucked into it again. So everyone honors their nature. We are just giving pointers, as you started out this point by saying, how do I handle such a situation?
Pawar Kaka, when you talked of this Sangarsh, he has such a nature, and he's done a beautiful video. I will share the link in the description, addressing this point from that standpoint. And it's very beautiful. Like, factually, he's addressed all of it. So, devotees can watch that if they're interested. But I do feel, Gautam, that the basis of Baba's prachar, I would always come back to, is the Sai Satcharit. And as much as whatever goes on, if the whole community is immersed in the teachings, I would just look at it as the fame of Baba spreads, which it is by every passing minute.
Yes.
That it is but natural that it may not sit well for some people
Sure.
for some time, but eventually, when we see in the Satcharit, many people who came to Baba in the hundreds, who doubted Baba or questioned things, eventually became devotees in their time. So I do feel, that it is certain grace, and really good merits from one's past births that one can come to the lotus feet of Baba. And I always pray that everyone has that good fortune.
That's beautiful.
Is there anything else you would like to share that I may not have asked you?
No, I think we've covered a very nice range of topics today, and everything is linking into each other.
So, Gautam, thank you very much for your time as always. And I hope we can have a series of talks even on the Eknathi Bhagwat.
Yes.
And if you have time, it would be wonderful to have you on the channel, and we could dwell deeper into that.
Sure.
And
look into
even
it.
the Satcharit, some stories and some contemplations.
Yes. Thank you, Nick.
Wonderful.
Thank you.